dogs and Indians not allowed. And there was a lot of racism. You had to carry one, I card all the time, all the time. So anyway, so Gandhi, of course, protested. That was his first place in South Africa, where he protested, started his non-violent resistance. So at one point, I'm cutting a long story short. They all agreed. Like in non-violent resistance, you always tell the other person, look, you're doing this wrong, and I'm going to do this to protest against you. There's no secrecy in non-violent. All your cards are on the table. There's no enemy. There's um, a wrongdoer. You protest against the wrongdoing. You don't identify the wrongdoing with the wrongdoer. Okay? Now let's say that Gandhi had called towards the end of the struggle, he had called for the whole Indian community for a non-violent resistance or satyagraha. He had said that we will cross the Transvaal border without our I cards. Okay? As a protest, that it's very wrong to carry these. It's very humiliating as living in Africa and treating us like this. So the day of the march, because we told General Smuts that this is wrong for you to be racist, it's wrong for you to take our liberty, and to protest against this, we are going to cross the Transvaal border without our identity cards. Even the Salt March, he did the same. Told the British, look, it's wrong for you to be here, please go. If you don't go, I shall make salt. So anyway, so the day of the march, you tell when you love someone, for example, you love your daughter, you will tell her, no, you're wrong here, and look, and maybe you say, look, if you're going to go to do this, I'm not going to eat today. It happens sometimes. But all I'm trying to say is that the day of the march, there was a lightning strike by the British government employees. They went on strike. So the Indian community was very happy. How great, there won't be enough people to check us. We can cross the Transvaal border. So Gandhi, what did he say? No, 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 that's wrong. We can't take advantage of this. So he wrote to General Smuts, Your Excellency, it's a recorded letter. Your Excellency, I can imagine the discomfort that you are feeling. I'm answering this question for you, excuse me. I'm answering this question for you. So please. So on that day when there was this lightning strike, he wrote a letter to General Smuts. Your Excellency, I can imagine how much discomfort you must be feeling. Your people have gone on strike. So don't worry, I'm postponing my march. When they come back on duty, we will do the march. And General Smuts, the effect that letter had on him, he wrote a letter to London and he said, please transfer me, I cannot deal with this man. And in the end, he wrote a PS and he wrote that I think what the Indians want is justice, let's give it to them. So don't think it can't be done politically. He showed you how it can be done politically. Okay, and then one more thing, of course, when they came back on, after the strike, they held their protest march. And now listen carefully. All the British bakeries and the British railways were British, bakeries were British. The British people and the British railways, because they were marching every day, no? They made it, they must reach fresh bread at no extra cost for the non-violent marchers. Imagine he's protesting the British government and the British people are siding with him. Imagine if the bakers had not given bread, the railways had not carried it. They could see, you can see that he's against the wrongdoing. He's not against the British. That is why we still say that the British left as friends, So this is politics. This really happened, And so 1 second. So but what I'm trying to say is, yeah, yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah, you see, actually this, now look, the non-violence is a science. If you really want me to answer, there's no time. Actually, you have to put your problem here. Uh, I wish you had a flipped board. It's to rub it out all the time. Just to tell you, you see, non-violence is a science. You can't just expect it like coffee, in instant coffee. It's a science. There's a method of applying it. It's a science. 1 minute. So let's say we want to end war. Let me take a problem common to humankind today, the war system. Yeah? So let's say the war system. This means we are spending $2 million a minute, 18,000 children dying every day, ecological imbalance, nuclear by mistake. Step number one is identifying the problem. What is it you want to change? Yeah? Then step number will be two is what supports the problem? Whichever problem. What supports the problem, right? Now, in this case, is the logic of deterrence, the glory of nationalism, so many things. What's the military industrial complex, all these things, I think. Yeah? And of course, for Gandhi, I'm again telling you, the most important thing was how am I supporting the problem? I as an individual, and how can I change it? And so that is Gandhi's concept of power. Each one of us are very, very powerful individuals. And how am I supporting? How can I change? So let me finish this, and maybe it'll answer your question in an indirect way. Because I wanted to end with this anyway. I wanted you not to feel that there's all love and non-violence in the air. That is something very, very concrete. Let's say, so now my next thing would be how is each one of us supporting the war system, you know, because it's a medical science like malaria makes progress. You come to the first cause. No, you know the first cause, you treat the disease. Okay, war is also a disease. Thank you. So let me put here war. What is the first cause of war? First cause, because it's a science, you have to apply the scientific method. What is the scientific method? Formulate a hypothesis, check the hypothesis, then eliminate, formulate another one. For example, if you took malaria, to find out what is the first cause of malaria, they found out, no, is it lack of vitamin E? So it was a hypothesis. No, then you eliminate it, checked it, eliminated. By lack of vitamin D, B, bad drinking water, whatever, then ultimately they came to what? Yeah. And then again, which mosquito? Okay, Anopheles mosquito. You find the first cause, you treat the disease. Okay? Similarly, what causes war? Come on. No, no, no. The first cause. First cause. Okay, power, ego, etc. But the first cause. Yeah, you're little, yeah, very good, very good, very good, very good. You're nearly there. So all the what you said is right. Also, in a hurry because you have to leave the room. So like obviously power, all these things what you said are correct. But the first cause, very rightly she said it. It is because all the adults living in democracies, you and I, we have consciously chosen, while I'll just put VCR, violent conflict resolution, that when there will be a conflict at the international level, we will use violence to resolve it. And we are very passionate. Huh? We are spending $2 million a minute, a standing army, navy, air force, weapons, nuclear weapons and everything, the war system. This is the crux. If you want to change to a non-violent world order, this is the answer. Substitute violent conflict resolution for non-violent. In other words, politically legitimize non-violent conflict resolution. Today we have politically legitimized, the word legitimized, made legal, violent as a violent conflict resolution, right? So how can we substitute it? Are you the next speaker here? Okay, then I can just finish this. So how can we do this? How can this be done? I give you we've actually my NGO, which works in 17 slums in South Delhi, in education, health and women empowerment. We send slum children to school. We also have a center for peace and conflict resolution. And we've started an international initiative for the political legitimization of non-violent conflict resolution. How? I'll just share it very briefly in a minute with you. We are asking all the countries wherever we live, like people in USA will do it with the American government. In India, I'm lobbying my Indian government. For what? There are three demands we make. As you know, in democracy, you can demand a certain thing, or you can urge if you want. You use a lesser word. Number one, we want that every government around the world, or let's say in Indians for the Indian government, that without abandoning the present military defense, a parallel non-violent defense be instituted. Let me explain. I'm only a Gandhi expert, but there are non-violent defense experts in the world. I've met most of them. They've been working with this concept for 25 years. There's Gene Sharp at Harvard. I've lectured there. He's a friend. Robert Burrows in Australia. So many people. So what we want is that there is a defense ministry in every country. Okay? Right now it's a military ministry. So every country starts a non-violence ministry. I'm just finishing in 1 minute. So every country would start a non-violence ministry. I'm not saying peace ministry. Peace is a very loaded word. Depends your approach to peace. You can say nuclear weapons are needed to keep the peace. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or you can say to kill is wrong. Then you build a different world. So let's say this. So you have, and at the grassroots level, like you have military training colleges, West Point in the States, NDA, IMA, you start non-violence training colleges. There is a blueprint of what will be taught there. We only need the necessary political will to put it into practice. So that's number one. Number two is the legal democratic option to be trained in non-violent defense. Again, take an example from my country. A lot of young Indians join the defense for their bread and butter. They don't want to learn how to kill. And you have to learn how to kill. You learn how to kill, how to use a gun. It's not natural to know how to kill. So there should be a legal democratic option. You want to defend, do it through military means, violence, or through non-violence. It has to be learned. And the last is the legal democratic option for taxpayers to divert their defense tax from military defense to non-violent defense. We're not saying we don't want a defense. Of course you want a defense. It does not have to be violent. So there should be an option or an income tax returns, income tax returns, 2 boxes. And you can tick mark military defense, non-violent defense. Let's say half the taxpayers all over the world sign up. What will happen? That $1 million a minute will still be used for the military. $1 million a minute you would have for setting up your non-violence academy, staff, books, non-violence, R&D, etc. And let me just close. Sorry? Okay, so I would like all of you, if you want more information, get in touch with me. And I've, there's a whole strategy on how to do it, how to work for it, that also. And since we've been talking a lot about love, I want to finish with a quotation on love. And that is, love is, it all depends on your ability to love, depends on your level of evolution. So since we are in India, can I use a Hindi couplet to talk about love? Okay. Some of you know Hindi, na? Okay. एक लफ्ज़ मोहब्बत का छोटा सा अफसाना है, एक लफ्ज़ मोहब्बत का छोटा सा अफसाना है, सिमटे तो आशिक़े दिल, फैले तो ज़माना है.